You underestimate the power of the dark side. If you will not fight, then you will meet your destiny. Voyage: A Sorceress's Vacation is a new game release for the Sega Master System in 2021. And as far as I know, it's the first Master System game of this year. Well, kind of. Technically, the game was released digitally last year, where I even interviewed the developers. But now it finally received a physical release, something which is pretty rare for modern Master System games, as most will usually only ever get a digital launch. The game is a 2D platformer which uses the Alex Kidd in Miracle World engine. Yeah, the Master Systems in the development scene isn't quite as advanced as the NES's or Mega Drives, and in fact most games are often still using legacy engines. In fact, the only modern Master System game I previously reviewed was an Alex Kidd fan-made sequel. And while I enjoyed that game, I do feel that Voyage is an important step in the right direction. After all, if we want the indie Master System scene to grow, we have to be willing to break away from its legacy games and make something of our own that is not based on any previous titles. But I'm probably getting ahead of myself. The game comes in a Master System style box, and I gotta say, I absolutely love this cover. Usually I tend to be a bit harsh on the covers of some of these new games, but the colors and stylized visuals make it such a pleasant image to look at. It's clearly drawn using modern tools, but it's really well made, and the box would look right at home with the rest of your Master System collection. Inside we find the cartridge and manual. The manual is made to mimic the European-style Master System manuals of the time, meaning it's horizontal and has a very sparse imagery, which I feel is a bit of a double-edged sword. Yes, on one hand it's a nice callback to the old-style manuals, but on the other hand, I would have liked to have seen some color. I do like the text within, which explains the backstory, the enemies, and teaches how to play the game, while still injecting a bit of humor here and there. And I quite like the images featuring our adorable sorceress. Overall, this is a nice manual, but I can't help but feel like it could have been better if it had been more like the back cover and less like the official ones Sega of Europe used. Look, I'm just gonna say it. Whether it's the Master System, the Mega Drive, the Saturn or the Dreamcast, there's one thing that always remains consistent, and that's the fact that Sega of Europe never made a decent manual. The cartridge is also really cool, and unlike any other Master System cartridge that I own, as it's white, transparent, and I totally love it. I mean, just look at this thing, it's so cool! Back when I interviewed the Alex Kidd in Miracle World 2 developers, I was told that one of the main issues with producing physical cartridges for the Master System was the fact that no one had any molds. So instead they had to get sports games to create new releases for the system. But apparently, this means that the Master System development community finally found a way around this issue, which I'm super happy for. I also really love how even the PCB has the name of the game on its back, as well as a print number. Man, that is just really cool. And apparently I also own the 27th copy of this game. Overall, this is a really nice packaging. I do think the manual could be improved, but that's a pretty minor complaint. Booting up the game, you're presented to the title screen and story. Apparently, our sorceress was on a cruise vacation when the ship crashed, leaving you stranded on an island, and now it's your job to escape. Now, to me, this introduction actually highlights one of the limitations of the Alex Kidd in Miracle World engine, and that is just how long it takes for the text to load. I know that neither this game nor Alex Kidd have a lot of text, but it really does take an unnecessarily long time to load such a short amount of text. Anyway, you're then shown the world map and progress to the first level. The sorceress can walk, jump and attack with her staff, and that's kind of it, really. Yeah, just like Alex Kidd, your moveset is pretty limited. But again, just like Alex Kidd, the point is to destroy boxes and blocks to collect coins, which can then be spent on stores for more lives or potions, which can give you abilities. There are 3 types of potions, colored blue, green, and yellow. The blue potion lets you shoot fireballs, which can be used to dispatch enemies or destroy boxes from a distance, and is most likely the potion that you'll be using the most. The green potion allows you to float for a few seconds, which I mostly use to get past a few of the more tricky platform segments. And the yellow potion makes you invulnerable for a brief period of time. Once both are picked up, all of these potions are stored in your inventory, which can be accessed by pressing the start button on your console, or if you're playing on a Mega Drive with an adapter, you can simply use the start button on the controller. That's right! This is a Master System game that you can pause with your controller, and it's really cool that the devs did this. Now, none of these potions give you an extra hit. This means that if you have the fire potion activated and an enemy hits you, you die automatically. It's not like in Mario, where you power down first. So no matter what potions you're using, you'll always have to be on the lookout for enemy patterns and play defensively. And it's also something that you need to take into account even without any potions, as your staff has a short reach and the game's controls are super slippery. Which, once again, all of this actually stems from Alex Kidd in Miracle World, as it had the exact same power-ups, low attack reach, and slippery controls. Another element carried over from Alex Kidd are the water stages, but I generally find the controls here to work better. I can't quite put my finger on it, but they feel smoother than they did in the original game. Or maybe it's just a level design that feels better implemented for your controls. Either way, I gotta say, I actually really enjoyed these levels and had more fun with them than the water levels in Alex Kidd. And finally, you have a single cloud level in which the game suddenly becomes more of a shmup. I really enjoyed this stage and was a bit sad that it was the only one like it in the entire game, as it did a really good job at keeping the gameplay varied. With that said, if you've played Alex Kidd in Miracle World, all of these gameplay elements should feel familiar to you. If anything, Voyage: A Sorceress's Vacation actually removed a few features from the original. I mean, sure, the cloud kind of plays like the Pennycopter, but the bike and boat segments were removed. One thing I like about Sorceress is how you have to think before proceeding. You always die in one hit, so you need to play defensively and think before committing to a jump or attack. And thankfully, for the most part, the game will give you the time you need to think before proceeding. Additionally, levels will have secrets or alternate paths, meaning it's often best to evaluate the best way to progress. For example, if instead of destroying a few blocks or crates, you use them as jumping platforms, you might actually unlock a new path, which will have lives, potions, or more coins awaiting for you. The game also has a couple of boss fights, and these are either too easy or too difficult, depending on whether or not you have the Fireball potion. You see, like I said before, you die in one hit, but the bosses will always have a ranged attack. So if you're stuck with your staff, you can technically beat them, but you'll have to be super precise with your jumping and timing. But if on the other hand, you have the ranged attack potion with you, then they become a cakewalk. Also, you gotta love how the bosses are these dudes in suits who apparently want to use the crew's money to build factories, but have no idea what to actually manufacture. Or in this dude's case, and I kid you not, to create a rocket-powered animal theme park. Wait, so like a theme park with rocket-powered animals? Dude, that sounds awesome! No, seriously, why am I fighting him? I wanna go to this theme park. Why is he a villain? Anyway, your ending will also change depending on how much money you have by the end of the game. If you don't have enough, then you can't buy a ticket out of the island, and instead need to make the rest of the amount by working in an HR department. Okay, you know what, Voyage? I like you. You have a sense of humor. In fact, the game also has something of an environmentalist theme going on. The first few levels are beautiful to look at, But once you reach the factory, not only are the stages intentionally uglier, but there's even a joke about you meeting a tour guide who shows you the spot of an ancient temple and a 2,000-year-old oak tree that were demolished to make room for the factory. I think this is a neat little way of introducing subtle environmentalist themes without being too heavy-handed or preachy. I like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the gameplay. I actually finished the game on my first try in just under 2 hours, so I don't think the game is overly long or difficult. The one odd thing I did notice is that a new life costs 400 gold in the vending machines, but a continue comes with 3 lives and costs 800 gold. So I kind of don't see the point in buying lives in this game. Another thing that I really love about Sorceress are the graphics. From a technical standpoint, there's nothing too interesting going on, except for the occasional parallax scrolling effect. But the art style and colors are honestly some of the best I've ever seen in an 8-bit game. With the exception of the factory levels, the colors in every other stage look absolutely stunning and complement each other nicely, which is impressive considering the Master System only has a color palette of 64 colors and can only display half of that. But no matter which stage you're in, the game always looks amazing despite changing color themes often. For example, the Cloud level will use pastel colors as its main theme, while the island itself will use yellow and blue or brown and blue. You also have the whites from the snow level and the dark blues from the cave and night levels. It's pretty clear that the artists behind the game knew what they were doing with their color theory. I especially like the shading on the palm trees, which are very Sonic the Hedgehog-like, something which developers also mentioned in my interview with them. And the minimalist but happy art style works really well here. Minimalist because the levels and sprites have this angular design, and happy because, honestly, it often feels like everyone is smiling. From the sorceress at the start of every level, to the clouds floating in the sky, each with their own expression. I also like the soundtrack, which for the most part is nice and chill. And according to the composer, he even added a bit of synthwave to the soundtrack. Which, maybe it's just me, but the idea that there's now a Master System game with a synthwave-inspired soundtrack is pretty amazing. Overall, I quite enjoyed Voyage, A Sorceress's Vacation. It's a neat little game with a great sense of style and clever level design that honestly is only really hampered by the fact that it's running on the Alex Kidd engine. Don't get me wrong, Alex Kidd is a good game, and so is Voyage, but I do feel that there's potential here for much more. And if the developers make a sequel, I'd really want to see them either create their own engine or do things that make this game feel completely separate from Alex Kidd. Now, if you want a physical copy of this game, you can get it from the website twominds.fr, which has this and a few other Master System games up for sale. On the other hand, if you just want to play the ROM, the developers were kind enough to share the patch file for free over at the smspower.org website. But regardless of how you play Voyage, A Sorceress's Vacation, this is a really fun game and hopefully a sign of more to come from the Master System indie scene. Hey everyone, thank you for watching Stikka's Retro Corner. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell and share this video. All that fun social media stuff. And you can also support me on Patreon. It may not seem like it, but even $1 is a really big help in keeping this channel going. I'd also like to thank my newest Patreon supporter, Glenn Malarkey. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. Bye!